actually working directly with businesses? Well, the way that I'm going to answer this is first, I'm going to talk about how a lot of people become consultants. And it's not just mental health professionals, but people from all walks of life and all types of talents and all types of background. What they generally do, or more often than not, is they go to a company and they have a specific set of talents, and maybe they go to a company with an idea, or maybe they have ways of generating referrals because they become known for their talents, and so companies actually are reaching out and soliciting them. And what happens is they go to this company and they design like an ad hoc contract. So they listen to the company's problems and then they come up with this very bespoke ad hoc solution to that problem. And then they deliver on that contract. And at the same time as they're delivering on that contract, they're then got their head over their shoulder looking for their next contract or where their next source of income is going to be once this contract wraps up. And then they go to the next company and they generate the next opportunity, and it's something different because their perception is, well, this company has a slightly different problem, so I'm going to design a slightly different solution for this slightly different problem. And then they fulfill that contract and they get paid well, okay. And as they're fulfilling that contract, they got their head over their shoulder looking for the next contract. This is the life of a lot of consultants. And what I tend to find is that that is no better than doing clinical therapy. Here's why. You're continuing to trade time for money because what you're doing is something different for every single client that you have. And therefore, what you have to do is you have to go out and get the business. Then you have to design what you're going to do. Then you have to fulfill what you're going to do. And then you have to go out and get the next set of business and repeat the whole process again. That's trading time for money because you're doing something different for every contract that you're paid for. Here's how to do it a little bit better, and here's how I guide my clients to do it. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick a business problem, something that you would be good at solving, something you have the talent to solve. So what do businesses need from mental health professionals? Well, let's take a look at a business, for instance, that has staff turnover. They have a case of bad vibes going on in the company. They have a lot of people who are pissed off about one issue or another. And what's happening is that becomes kind of like a cancer, and this bad attitude can spread through the workforce and it becomes integrated with the culture. And then you have people quitting, you have people fighting, you have people doing this whole quiet quitting thing that people are talking about these days where they're really just not productive. And the leaders can see that, and what they need is somebody to actually help to resolve these issues and move the company forward. And in that case, a mental health professional who actually understands some of these key issues is a great shoo-in. There's also things like burnout. There's a lot of burnout going on at the moment. And as a result of this burnout, companies are having high quit rates. If you just look at the hospitals, for instance, 1 in 5 employees are already quitting, and 50% intend to leave the profession within 5 years. That's called a brewing crisis. And it's a hundreds of millions, billion-dollar crisis right there. And mental health professionals are well positioned to actually go in and start helping to deal with these issues. So that's a good example of a project. Here's another one. A lot of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives include ensuring that there is, for example, 25% diversity level among top executives. I've seen this as a stated goal of a number of different companies. And so when you look at a company like that, what you are then looking to try and say is, okay, we're going to promote diversity in our ranks, and we're going to bring a lot of new people up to the executive level. The problem then becomes, how do I make these people successful? What skills do they need? They need interpersonal skills, they need resilience skills, they need leadership skills, and they may also need a forum where they can actually voice some of the issues that they're experiencing as they're climbing the ranks and being brought up into more diverse ranks, which might be some kind of pushback, some kind of lingering racism or microaggressions that are actually happening. And so therefore the DEI departments need mental health professionals in these companies to help to ensure the success of these people who are being newly promoted. These are all just examples. But what I'm getting at here is you need to create a simple, repeatable product that you're delivering over and over again. So I'll use that example of having a program which is being installed based on DEI initiatives and promoting diversity within executive ranks. You're basically teaching the same skills over and over again to different executives. You can even do this in a group basis, and this allows you to be very systematic in how you deliver your service. And so basically what happens there is if you're delivering the same thing over and over and over again to different people, you can become highly systematic. And this is what cuts the number of hours that you need to deliver this one thing that you're selling to your client. It cuts it way down. And that's what creates the ability for you to make more income in far fewer working hours, because you're taking this productized approach. You're active within one particular niche, delivering one kind of solution with minimum customizations on that solution. That gives you a business you can grow. It even gives you a business where you can start to hire other mental health professionals to work for you to help to deliver the product or service that you're delivering, you see? And that's what allows you to scale and make even more money and become like a CEO if that's something that you want to create. So the first thing you need is to be active in one niche, solving one kind of problem, which exists in a lot of different companies, and focusing on only delivering that. Next thing you need to think about is your pricing. A lot of mental health professionals, when they get into consulting, they look at a project and they're like, well, how many hours is it going to take me to do that? And then they just charge their hourly rate multiplied by that number of hours for the whole project. You're still trading time for money if you do that. Do not do that. You need a way, and it usually takes having the right advice and having somebody able to hold you and bring you through your fears and your imposter syndrome, but you need a way to charge for the transformation that you are creating, not the number of hours that you're working. So I'll go back to that DEI example. You're helping the company to achieve a key objective, and it's investing a lot of money in a lot of different people in order to achieve that objective, which is bringing more diversity into their executive ranks. These are highly paid people, and it's a high stakes game. You should be charging a lot of money, far more than the hours that you're working, in order for helping to deliver on that objective. And then the next thing is about how to sell your product. The way that I do this is I help people to market by teaching. So sales is very intimidating to a lot of mental health professionals. And I know that. I get it why you feel that way. Because what you really think is, I have to become these people like the people on used car commercials. I have to be like a used car salesman, and I have to be able to say things in the right manipulative way in order to persuade somebody to buy from me, and I have to talk about my program and talk about myself and be somebody that I'm not. Don't do that at all. That's going to completely kill any sale you try to make. You need to be yourself, and you need to teach what you know with authenticity. And will that involve restructuring how you say things? Yes, but the key thing is to position you as an authority who proves their authority based on the kind of content that they're putting out, which is teaching people and advancing their knowledge about how to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And then also what you might find is when you're very new at this, we want to take a two-tiered approach to actually marketing and selling your service. Sometimes when you go to a company who doesn't know you at all and you're fairly new to consulting, what you might find is that asking for a $25,000 or a $50,000 contract right away or a $100,000 contract right away, you might not get it because they're like, who is this person? I don't know if I can trust this person. And so one way to kind of grease the wheels of your way into a company is a method that I use to help my clients to sell consulting for the first time. And that is to do an introductory workshop. This is about a $3,500 workshop where you're teaching some key things to the people who you would be serving in that particular organization. And it's like just an hour long. It's covering the main concepts of what you teach. But inside of that workshop, what we actually do is we're polling people. where as you're teaching, you're asking questions and people are voting in on the answers as you go through and teach your material. And then you take these questions and you present them in a management debrief. Usually, my clients will charge something like $3,500 to $5,000 in order to do this workshop with a management debrief. And you could be asking questions in the workshop in your poll, which are, for example, pertain to the level of burnout that people are experiencing, the level of communication problems they're experiencing, and they're being answered anonymously by everybody in that workshop. What have you then done? You've then created data that the management wants to know that is the justification for the management putting together a broader program, and you've generated trust. The management has this trust in you as you're the one who uncovered these issues or confirmed these issues for them as the person to actually deliver that program. And that's when you can ask for your $25,000 check or your $50,000 check. So if you have questions, there's a video on my YouTube channel that breaks this down in more detail. Just put Robin Thompson, The Powerful Practice, into YouTube, head on over there. It's the very first video on my channel, and it really breaks down how to break into coaching, training, or consulting in an easy way so that what you're doing is you're able to cut your clinical hours, make a lot more money, have better quality of life, and reduce the amount of burnout that so many mental health professionals are getting into. Head on over to my YouTube channel, check it out, subscribe to this video, or if you're watching this on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm putting this kind of content out on a regular basis. And if you want to speak more, head on over to my website, book a 15-minute chat, we'll be introduced and talk about how you want to break into coaching, training, or consulting. Thank you.